All right, we're going to take a look at two types of ratios, looking at inventory ratios and accounts receivable ratios. So we have ratios. I'm going to look at these together. We have the accounts receivable ratios, which would be the accounts receivable turnover and days of AR on hand. And then we also have inventory ratios, which is inventory turnover and days of inventory on hand. So for the accounts receivable ratios, if you look on page 389 of chapter 7, you're going to see the receivable turnover ratio. I call it AR turnover. And it's net sales divided by average AR. So the average AR is taking the current year plus the prior year AR balances. So then you're going to come up with a number. And if you look on illustration 7-23 for the receivable turnovers, they have a medical, technology, design software, and a wholesale consumer food. So what I want you to be able to understand, is obviously how to come up with the calculation in and of itself, but to be able to decipher what these ratios are representing. So if you have a ratio of 4.45, which is what the medical technology field has, and then 6.55 for design software, 13.5 for General Mills, what this is saying is this is how quickly their inventory turns over each period. So usually a period would be a year. 4.4 times the AR is coming in and being collected 4.5 times. 6.55 times for design software, 13.5 times for a consumer foods company. So you want these to be quick. You want your AR to turn over very quickly. It means you're collecting your cash faster. So companies will analyze these numbers to see how quickly their AR is turning, and they want these to be higher. Now, when you look at days of inventory on hand, this again could be called the average collection period, and it's taking 365 days divided by your AR turnover. So if you do all of these out, if you take the 4.45 divided by the 365, you should come up with 82, and this is days. And then for the next one, taking you would divide 365 days into the 6.5 when you're entering it into your calculator. So you should get 56 days. And then again, taking the 365 divided by the 13.5, you should get 27 days. So what this is saying is this is how long the accounts receivable is sitting on their books. So for the grocery store, every 27 days they're collecting their AR, or AR is sitting outstanding for 27 days on average. For the design software, it's on average sitting for 56 days. For the medical technologies, it's sitting on average for 82 days. So you want these days to be shorter, right? You want to collect your AR more quickly. So again, these you want to be faster. You want to be turning your AR over more quickly. And these you want to be shorter. You want to be collecting it in a shorter number of days. Okay. So now when we look at the inventory turnover ratios, You can see these on page 445 in chapter 8. So for the inventory turnover, in this case, you're going to take the cost of goods sold divided by the average inventory. And again, average inventory is like average AR. We're taking the current plus the prior year divided by 2. So you've got average inventory. And then the days on hand, you're still taking the 365 divided by the inventory turns. So for the inventory turnovers, let's say, in similar industries you have, let's say, 5, 6, and 7. So what these numbers would be saying is this is how quickly your inventory is being sold. So your warehouse is filling up and selling, say, 5 times a year, 6 times a year, 7 times a year. So this is number of times per year. And then when you plug that into the days on hand equation, let me see here, you'd have 73 days, if you do it for 6. You'd have 61 days and 52 days. So what this is telling you is inventory sitting on your shelf for 73 days on average, 61 days on average, 52 days on average. So for these, companies usually want their inventory turns to be quicker. They want to be clearing their warehouse out more quickly, more often. And they want the inventory sitting on their shelves for a less period of time. So they want these number of days to be less. Okay, so please read through these chapters. I'll be asking you to be able to analyze these ratios if you're given a set of ratios from year to year, industry to industry, to understand what the ratios mean.